I'd like to bring Steve Thomason up and open in our prayer. And I want to welcome you all, welcome our members, our guests.
Let's pray together. Thank you, Lord, for bringing abundance to our tables today. We acknowledge your awesomeness this morning. Please bring wisdom to all voters this month to separate truth from deceit. Relieve the tension and bring agreement over the issues to those in our state and federal government. Lord, bring peace to an end to the conflicts in the Middle East and Ukraine. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Steve. And for our Jewish members and guests, I have a prayer reading from Psalms. This is from Psalms 18:30. As for God, his way is perfect. The word of the Lord is flawless. He is a shield for all who take refuge in him. Psalm 18:30. Another Psalm 62:8. Trust in him at all times, O people. Pour out your hearts to him, for God is our refuge. Psalm 62:8. And now I'd like to bring up Alan Clark to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
And now I'd like to bring up Karen Blanco. Karen Blanco is our Americanism chair. She is also our recording secretary, and she writes our articles for the Globe.
We are rapidly approaching our country's 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Only 2 more months and a couple of days left to go. We are such a young and a very special country. We should be proud to be Americans. A simple timeline leading up to the Declaration of Independence reveals that tensions between Great Britain and colonial America greatly increased in the 10 years between 1763 and 1773. Repeated efforts to regulate and control the colonists were leading to increased rebellion. The Sugar Act was followed by the Stamp Act, and then the Townshend Act, and then the Tea Act. The Boston Tea Party took place in December 1773, and the Continental Congress was established in fall 1774. Calls for independence grew even stronger between 1775 and 76. During those 2 years, many colonists believed that war with Great Britain was inevitable, so they encouraged the battle for freedom to continue. However, there were members of Congress who, remaining loyal to the Crown, proposed an attempt at reconciliation with King George III and Parliament. The Second Continental Congress convened in summer 1775 to decide how to move forward. Those in Congress who did not want independence believed that America's problems came from Parliament and not the King directly. It was decided to reach out to King George himself, which led to the drafting of what is commonly known as the Olive Branch Petition. Originally written by Thomas Jefferson, the first draft was considered to be too aggressive, not striving enough for peace with the mother country. The petition was reworked and finally signed by Congress on July 8, 1775, almost a year before the Declaration of Independence emerged. The Olive Branch Petition begins, quote, "To the King's most excellent majesty, most gracious sovereign, we, your majesty's faithful subjects of the colonies, entreat your majesty's gracious attention to this, our humble petition," end quote. The writers compliment the king on the productive partnership between him and the colonies, pointing out that, quote, "the union between our mother country and these colonies and the energy of mild and just government," end quote, have created wonderful benefits for both parties. They praised George III, writing that, quote, "other nations have beheld Great Britain rising to a power the most extraordinary the world has ever known," unquote. The writers blame not George III, but his various ministers, without naming names, for pushing the colonists to the brink of war with their policies of excessive taxation and aggressive military occupation. Quote, "Your Majesty's ministers, persevering in their measures and proceeding to open hostilities for enforcing them, have compelled us to arm in our own defense," the colonists complain. More compliments are lavished on the king, with the authors claiming that the colonists profess the utmost deference for your majesty and mentioning his royal benevolence, and finally writing, quote, "We solemnly assure your majesty that we most ardently desire that the former harmony between Great Britain and these colonies may be restored," end quote. Such reconciliation, the colonists tell the king, will work to, quote, "transmit your majesty's name to posterity, adorned with signal and lasting glory," unquote. One day they write, "A most noble and durable monument to the king's fame will be created." Finally, the document assures the king that the Americans are, quote, "the most dutiful subjects and the most affectionate colonists he has ever known." The Continental Congress signed it, quote, "that your majesty may enjoy a long and prosperous reign, and that your descendants may govern your dominions with honor to themselves and happiness to their subjects is our most sincere and fervent prayer," unquote. Two men appointed by Congress delivered the petition to London in September, about 8 weeks after it was composed. Apparently, they were told that since the king was not officially presented with the petition while actually sitting on his throne, he would not reply to it. On August 23rd, not having seen the petition yet, the king issued his own important document for the colonists. The two documents missed each other while in transit across the Atlantic Ocean. Titled, quote, "By the King, a proclamation for suppressing rebellion and sedition," unquote, King George rejects outright the idea of reconciliation, declaring the colonies to be an open rebellion. He writes, quote, "Many of our subjects in diverse parts of our colonies and plantations in North America are misled by dangerous men and are forgetting the allegiance which they owe to the power which has protected and sustained them," unquote, i.e. himself, the British Crown. His Majesty writes that the colonists have been, quote, "traitorously preparing, ordering, and levying war against us." He gives orders through this royal proclamation for all of his civil and military officers to, quote, "assist in the suppression of such rebellion and to make known all traitorous conspiracies and attempts against us, our crown, and our dignity, given at our court at St. James, the 23rd day of August, 1775, in the 15th year of our reign, God save the king," unquote. The Continental Congress did not learn until November 1775 that the king had not received the petition in a timely manner. By that time, Congress had already begun to establish a navy, and Continental troops were growing in size and competence. The fledgling nation was heading towards war. Unlike some of his congressional colleagues, John Adams was not surprised at the king's hostile response. In the fall of 1775, he wrote, quote, "I expected no relief, and instead was wholly occupied in measures to support our army," unquote. Thank you for listening. God bless America.
And with that, we're excited to have all of these wonderful candidates running to help serve us. So right now, I'm going to bring Betty Oliker up to begin and introduce our guests.
Jenny Ray LaRue is an accomplished business owner, author, and strategic advisor with a BA in economics from the University of Virginia and an MBA from Columbia Business School. Jenny Ray co-built companies in the energy and financial services industry before purchasing Management Consulted, a private tech-enabled services company. She's currently serving as Executive Director of CalDoge. Jenny Ray is committed to rooting out waste and abuse and is focused on a mission to make California work for the people who call California home. Running for Congress from the 47th District, please join me in welcoming Jenny Ray LaRue.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. Very excited to be with you today. I'll do a really brief introduction of who I am. I'll share really why I'm running and what we want to do in Congress. So I want to tell you just a little bit first about my family. My grandfather was a World War II veteran. He passed away just a few years ago. Do we have any veterans in the room? I'm guessing almost everyone. Yes, thank you. Thank you for your service. My family has continued that tradition, and I have a number of members of our family that are in the armed forces active duty today. One of my cousins is actually engaged in Iran. Right now, he's with the Special Forces for the U.S. Army. So anyhow, we're really proud Americans and proud military family. In addition, my family are a family of business people. So that same grandfather, when he came back from World War II on the GI Bill, went to college and then built a company that sold to Disney. It was the same company that planned the city of Orlando. And he was a big legacy builder for our family. One of the things that he told us when we were young is you get to spend the first half of your life building for your family and the second half of your life building for your community. And I don't think that a lot of people in my generation, I'm 45 years old, think like that right now. A lot of us think about how we can retire early and live on a boat or go, take an RV around the nation, and we don't think about how we can serve back into the community. And so for me, for a lot of my life, that looked like building businesses that employed people. My husband and I have invested in real estate, building homes that people can be proud to live in, and also building a family and schools that we are really proud to have our kids in. I have 3 sons. They're 13, 9, and 6 years old. We eat a lot of bananas in my house. They are growing wild and very fast. And so entering into public service is actually a big sacrifice for our family. We were already really busy. But I took a look at this guy, at Dave Min, who's currently in the seat. How do you guys feel about this guy? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. He's an embarrassment. He's not just a terrible representative. He's an embarrassment to our county and to our country. That's the kind of person that we would elect and say, hey, you should be in charge of billions of dollars of budget and funding and of representing who we are here. And so, it was a very close race. I actually was just looking up on my phone. You know that on Election Day last year, Scott Baugh was ahead in this district. Do you remember that? And I know we all have our concerns about election fraud and election integrity. I want to just tell you why I'm really excited about this primary election right now, and then I want to talk a little bit about what I want to do in Congress. First of all, why I'm excited about the primary election. The Democrats in California in the last 40 years have never been so disorganized. This is a tremendous opportunity for us because as we're listening and polling what the Democrats are thinking right now, they don't know what to do. They don't know who they're voting for governor. Did anyone see the debate this week? I mean, it was like a wrestling match up there. It wasn't a governor's debate. And they don't know who they're voting for, and so they keep looking to their friend and saying, who are you voting for? I'll vote for the same person as you. Well, let's vote for whoever's ahead. Who's ahead this week? It's a different person than last week. And that kind of chaos is great for Republicans. So I just want to reinforce what Michael Gates said, because we've got 2 great candidates in the governor's race. Probably everyone in this room already knows who you're voting for. And that creates an opportunity for us not just to vote in the election by June 2nd, but also to begin to vote early, which Republicans have generally not done well. And what that results in sometimes for us is we just miss voting altogether. Democrats are going to do that this time. They're going to wait and wait and wait, and they're going to miss voting, and we're going to have a significant opportunity to take ballot share in this primary election. And when people vote in the primary election, who they vote for, those votes carry over into the general election. So we are building right now for a win in November. Okay, so that's one of the things that I wanted to make sure that you knew. The second thing is that we've done a really deep diagnostic on why Scott Baugh didn't win this race. And he did a lot of things really well. He attacked Min. He really focused on what he would do for the district. But what he didn't do is he didn't spend time at 2 key places and in 1 key audience. The 2 key places are the University of California at Irvine. right? We've been there twice. Last night was our second time speaking to students at UCI. We will not leave that area behind. We are tabling during all of the election period at UCI in the primary, and we will have a very extensive operation in the general. So that, again, is also very exciting. The second place is just Irvine in general. Irvine has felt a little scary to Republicans recently, and if you've watched what's going on in Irvine, you might understand why. The good news is I'm not scared of much, and so I also live in Irvine, so I'm spending a lot of time in the community in Irvine, and we found a couple of populations there that are really excited about voting Republican that don't usually. One is the Jewish population. They have traditionally been Democrats. Yeah, exactly. It is about time. Well, you know, for a long time, they had friends on both sides of the aisle in Congress, right? You could depend on Democrats and Republicans to be pro-Israel. Not today. And Dave Min is outspoken about his anti-Israel stances. He has co-sponsored anti-Israel bills. And so that community is looking for a home, and we are welcoming them in. In addition, the Iranian community, President Trump has done more for the people of Iran and for the Middle East than any president in my lifetime and probably before. And they recognize it. They're excited about it. Exactly. And the third is our group of independents. We have a very large portion of independents. They don't vote very actively in the primary, but they're very active in the general election. And Dave Min doesn't represent them. He ran as a moderate. He is a far left progressive with everything he does. And this week, he showed it because he did a press conference with who else other than the flag bearer of the progressive movement, AOC. Right? So he is standing up in Congress with these people, and he is behaving like he is invincible. It is our job to show him that he's not. So I want to just conclude by talking a little bit about some of the work that I'm doing right now and why I'm specifically running for Congress and what I want to do when I'm there. First of all, in January of this year, I joined with a number of people, a great advisory board, to lead the effort as director of CalDOJ. So if you have watched what's been happening in California, by the way, raise your hand if you think there is no fraud in California. Okay, good. We're on the same team. You guys are very sane and awesome people. Honestly, you know what's cool about that? This is a Republican room. You know who also agrees with that? Democrats and NPPs. They are mad, too, that our money is going toward fraud. And just yesterday, actually, Secretary Rollins came out and said that there is so much SNAP fraud that they're doing analyses in red states, because they can get the information, on how many people drive Bentleys and are on food stamps. So obviously, I raised my hand this morning, and I said, we would love to help from California. So what are we doing with CalDOJ? Well, we said, you know what? We don't actually have any authority in California. We don't have a legislature that's in our favor, and we don't have an attorney general who will do the right thing. Do you know that he spent $40 million and 150,000 legal hours frivolously suing Trump last year? Our money suing Trump instead of finding fraud or doing his job to protect our border or anything else that he could have been doing with that time and money. And so what we did was we said, we're done being polite. We're done being polite. We're going to go straight for public opinion on this one. And we're going to tell them where the issue is, and we're going to ask them to knock on the door of Rob Bonta's office and of Gavin Newsom's office and tell them we are done. We are done in California with fraud. We will not let you do this anymore. And of course, we thought it might take a little bit of time. That was a Monday, the last week of January. On Wednesday, Nick Shirley arrived in California. By that next week, we had our first fraud investigation launched in San Diego County. Now you've seen what's happened with hospice. We have an anti-fraud task force in the White House. In under 3 months, we have made a difference in the nation, and we aren't even in power yet. We are simply yelling at the top of our lungs about what the problems are, and people from every part of California, from every area, from every party are joining in, and it is very exciting. So the Stop Nick Shirley Act is a direct result of the pressure that we're putting on Sacramento right now. And so when I was doing some of these investigations, by the way, we have over 2,000 fraud tips that have come in. 2,000 in under 3 months. The city of LA Do you know how many investigations they did last year on fraud? The controller came out this week. No, to their credit, they did 2. Yes, he said 0, they did 2. Yeah, I know, it's shock. It took 5 people, 5 full-time staff in an office to do 2. We are a team of complete volunteers. We have finished 3 in 12 weeks that have had national attention and results. We have arrests that are already happening with those. And we are working through this list now of this 2,000 plus tips that are going on. And we're doing it entirely with volunteers and with AI. And so we are all about this. So what I want to tell you is that, why am I running for Congress? Well, when we're doing this, you know where our money comes from? Like, some of it comes from this room and goes up to Sacramento and comes back, but a lot of it comes from Missouri and Texas and Tennessee and New York, and it comes into California. It's federal dollars. And you know whose job it is to pay attention to that money? Congress. They're doing a terrible job of oversight, and we need somebody in Washington who will say, excuse me, why do we have to do Freedom of Information Act requests for our own money? Everything should be public except for defense spending. Why should we allow for fraud to happen just because we pass money off to the states? Those are federal dollars. It's our job to close those programs and shut it down. And so that's what Dave Min isn't doing for this district. He's not fighting for us. He's not fighting against fraud in order to bring actual investment into the district. We found this morning $14 million a day are going to people in California that are on SNAP or food assistance benefits, that are not eligible or who are fraudulent. They don't live in the state or the country. $14 million a day. That is exactly what we have to stop. And when I go to Congress, we'll do just that. So thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be in this race. Thank you. Would be honored to have your support. And Johnny Lauro, that tall, handsome young kid over there, who is running my campaign, has been passing around a sign-up list to volunteer. We are building a precinct operation both for the primary and the general. So don't think you're going to get away with it just helping us in the next month. We need you for the next 6 months. But we want to win in Orange County, and we need every vote in order to do that. And we need a full-scale operation, and we'd love for you to be a part of it. Thank you again for having me.
All right. Michael Maxendi, also running for Congress to represent the 47th District, a seasoned political reformer with extensive political and civil leadership, committed to fiscal responsibility and restoring accountability in Washington. Michael has walked many paths: a corporate executive, small business owner, youth sports coach, 14 years on the board of directors for the Children's Hospital of Orange County, and 11 years on the board of directors for the Orange County Tourism Council. Please help me welcome Michael Maxendi.
It's nice to be back here amongst my compatriots. I feel right at home here. Thank you so much. I'm disappointed that Jenny's got to leave. And some of the things that I'm going to share with you are stuff that is why, some of you know that I left the campaign. I was honored to be here back in February. I hope many of you were here when I talked to you and had the opportunity to be here and meet you. But let me back up for a second. I didn't want to come with some speech. I wanted to come and talk to you all from my heart about what's going on and why I'm asking you to think of this race for the primary as I'm coming before you asking for the opportunity to represent you. I'm asking you to think of this as if I was being interviewed for the job of being your representative. So let me give you briefly, for those who weren't here, a little bit about my background beyond the introduction. I was born and raised here in Southern California. I moved here into Laguna Beach in 1975. I've lived and worked in this district, the old Prop 47 and the post-Prop 50 new District 47 for 51 years. I rose from the youngest salesperson at a division of American Standard to its president in 8 years and given the task to turn it around, which I did. But it wasn't because I was somebody so brilliant. It was because I had the ability to bring people together to solve problems. I brought the company employees, 240 of them together, and challenged them with the opportunity to turn the company around, and we did so together. I was given the opportunity then to be the COO to launch a joint venture for Nissan Corporation and another Japanese company here in Irvine, where I oversaw building and launching a business for them on Bacon Muirlands. After launching that business, I was gifted with a son late in life after we had lost 2 children, and I fulfilled a promise to leave the corporate world after 20 years and being a parent first. So I did that, and I left and I started a small one-man publishing business that over the next 20 years, I grew it into the second largest tourism publishing business in California. Again, not because I'm some brilliant, but I know how to bring people together and solve problems, have a vision for where we need to go, and then bring the right people together and challenge them and make sure that we get the results that we can deliver. While I was doing that, as mentioned by Betty, I was on Children's Hospital Foundation Board for 14 years. I was actually on the Tourism Council's Executive Board for 12 years, where I came up with the idea of how, after 9/11, we could take our tourism industry that had been decimated, and we were all of our hotels, you'll all remember, were empty, and come up with the idea to sell our culture, sell the fact that we're a family-first, safe environment, and we're here because of the great bounty of our beaches and our community of safety. Instead of just selling the amusement parks, sell our culture, why we all moved here and love living here. And so we did that, and we got the award nationally as the fastest tourism destination to recover in all the nation. While I was at Children's Hospital, I founded the largest fundraising event in the history of the hospital back in 1995. And at that event, William Bennett, who many of you will remember, who was our former drug czar, education czar, being touted as the next Republican president, he was my keynote speaker when he launched that event. We were having dinner together, and I said, Bill, why did you just announce that you would not seek or accept the Republican nomination for president? And he said, Mike, I've got a son entering high school and another one entering middle school. I have not been there to be the father they need. It's time for me to be a parent first. And a bell went off. I had walked away from the corporate world, but I was still involved in the political world. I had been Chris Cox's delegate to the California Republican Convention in 1993, where he was asking me to run for office. So after that evening with Bill Bennett, I made the decision to withdraw from the Republican Club, or the Lincoln Club, and put being a parent first, and withdraw from Chris Cox's inner circle. So I did that. But what got me back into this was, as you'll all remember, in 2010, when we had just come out of that recession and we watched our party bail out the banks while 15 million Americans were unemployed and over 8 million Americans had lost their homes. Then over the next 6 months, we've watched our party and the Democrats not be able to come together and give us quality health care. That's when I turned to my wife, Kelly, and I said, something's really wrong here. I've got to figure out what I can do to contribute. Because I was gifted with the gift of the opportunity to live here in the sweet spot of America because of the sacrifices of my father and his generation. He was in France right after D-Day. He was in the Battle of the Bulge. I remember the sacrifices he and many made, and all of the folks at home to arm them, to prepare all the materials they needed. I was in that first lottery to go off to Vietnam, and I was 4 digits away at 166 from my draft board going. And many of my friends, as some of your friends and some of your children, went to Vietnam and died on behalf of our country. I was thinking of their sacrifices as I was watching this unfold in our country, and I said to Kelly, maybe God is calling me that this is my time to serve. And that's what I decided to step into the political world again, and started on a 15-year, which now is over 16 years, journey to help reform our political system. Then when Trump won for the 3rd time, I looked at Kelly and I said, and I mean that, we all know that, and I had voted for him proudly all those times. This is an opportunity that we cannot let go by. We know what happened in 2018 when we got complacent and the Democrats took over the control of the House, and we watched that debacle that just stopped all the reform efforts and worse. But it was a God's blessing, though, because Trump losing that next election actually gave him the opportunity to go and recognize so many things that he needed to do. He needed to put together a coalition. He needed to put together people who understood how to stand up to the corporate globalists and take on those actions to bring back our sovereignty, bring back our jobs, and help save our nation. So when we won this election and it was certified on January 6th, I made the decision that I would run for office. And I would run for Congress because Dave Min is somebody who represents the worst of the Democratic establishment. But at the same token, the only way we can win is with a coalition that can unite the independents, the soft Democrats, those Maha people, make America healthy again. Those are the people that we need to win. That's how Trump won, and that's what we need to win here. So I made it clear, and I told Will O'Neill and others in the party numerous times, if you could find somebody more qualified and electable than myself, I would gladly step aside in a heartbeat and put all of my efforts behind him. I'm well known in the independent community. I've got many endorsements from them and now podcasters and others because I worked for 15 years to reform our government from the outside, trying to reform it for all Americans. I said that to Will O'Neill numerous times, 28 hours before the close of the endorsement process. Without coming to me, they brought Jenny Ray in. And I'm sure Jenny Ray has good intentions. But at the same token, so I've stepped aside in unity. Jenny Ray and I had numerous conversations, starting with the endorsement committee, where I sat next to her, learning of the background she said she had, the money she said she had, and they asked me, in the cause of unity, would I step aside? So starting the next day on Sunday through Monday, we had over 5 or 6 conversations, 3+ hours, where Jenny and I talked about how we could work together, how if I stepped aside, we would work together as a team, just like Trump and Kennedy did. I could bring the unification of the independents, the Maha people. We could work together. So that night, March 16th, I made the announcement that I would suspend my campaign and go and put all of my efforts behind electing and unifying our party behind one candidate that I believed at that time could be the best candidate for us to win. So now I get behind the curtain starting the next day, and it was like I was dealing with a different person. What she had said at that endorsement committee on 3 important crucial matters of how much money she had cash on hand, how much money she and her husband were going to put into the campaign immediately to launch it, and who was her campaign fundraising director, turned out to be lies. I was also told that how we would work together, I'm sorry, but you won't be talking directly with me. You'll work through my campaign team. And it's like, excuse me? I thought we were going to be working as a team. I turned over my fundraiser that was scheduled for that coming Sunday to her and became a MC at my own fundraiser where the Comptroller General of the United States, former Comp General, flew in from D.C. on my behalf to lead that. We had 39 major potential donors there. At that event, she announces proudly, I moved to California 18 years ago, and 18 years ago, I moved here as an independent, as an NPP. But boy, in 2020, when our state and the lockdowns, I got so upset at our governor, I had to look up the name of our governor. And when I found out this guy, Gavin Newsom, was doing all of these things, I decided that I needed to run for governor. Well, excuse me, for 12 years in our state, you didn't even know the name of the governor? And now you're going to run for governor? And now you're going to register as a Republican for the first time? Wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. What's the arrogance of that? Where do you come out thinking you can move to our state and all of a sudden run it? So those are just a few of the things, and what I've just told you is exactly what I said to Jenny when I told her after 3 weeks that I could no longer support her, and I was considering it. I made the decision to rerun to get back into this race because we need somebody to go to Congress who we can trust. All of our recent lifetimes, we have heard politicians come before us after taking surveys. They know what we want to hear. They polish up the message, and then they tell us everything we want to hear, ask for our money, ask for our votes. They take that, they go back to Washington or go to Sacramento, and they do what the leadership, the old corrupt leadership, not Donald Trump, but the corrupt leadership would tell them to do, and the money was paying them to do. Well, that's an unacceptable way to do business for me. I did millions and millions of dollars in business in my career on a handshake. People could trust me. I lived by integrity. I could no longer endorse her. And then when they said, the campaign manager said to me, not Johnny, but the director who lives in Las Vegas, said, well, just tell us what the Maha people want to know, and we'll craft a message so that they'll like her. It's like, excuse me? Just tell me what they want to hear? And so when I was on a flight, she mentioned the Iranian community, and I'm proud to say in 47 years, they broke tradition to endorse me. After 47 years of never endorsing a candidate before a primary, I was honored to give a speech at that event up in Los Angeles with over 300,000 people on Valentine's Day. They then asked me if I would, yes, Iran is something I could talk a lot about. Then they invited me and hosted me, flew me back to D.C. for that event on March 29th to speak at that rally on the Washington Mall. Little me from Laguna Beach in Irvine was honored to speak there in front of 100,000 people on behalf of the Iranian effort and President Trump, with our Capitol building behind me, 100,000 people in front of me, and the Washington Monument there. While I was being flown there, I watched the movie Nuremberg. And the point of the movie Nuremberg and how Hitler was able to do what he did was because not enough people stood up. And I was thinking of that after I gave that speech there, and I was flying home on Monday, and I was thinking of my hometown hero. You will all remember, or most of you will remember, Louis Zamperini and the story Unbroken. I was born and raised just down the street from Torrance High School. Louis was our hometown hero, and I was thinking about Unbroken, how you never give up, and people have to stand up. And that's when I made the decision to get back in this race and do whatever I can to make sure that we take out Dave Min, send somebody to Washington who will represent our community with integrity, hold everyone accountable to the Constitution, and do everything in their power to bring America back to its founding principles and in service to the people again. I'm here as Michael Maxeni asking for your support. You've got on your tables some information more about me. Back on the table back there, there's some handouts. When we stepped aside for the campaign for over 3 weeks, my team went to work on other campaigns. It hurt, but it didn't stop me, and it won't stop me. I'm here to do whatever I can until I can't to support our country, and it's my service. I'm asking for your support now because I can take out Dave Min. I'm the only Republican that can truly win against Dave Min because I'm the only Republican that has the full support of the independent community, not just a couple groups now just being talked to, but I've been with them and inside of them one of the leaders in the independent movement. I have the Maha people behind me. I have been endorsed on their newsletter every single month since I announced myself running. So that's where I'm at, and I'm getting the hook. I could talk forever, but I know we're all waiting for lunch. So thank you so much. I'm glad to be here, and I'm honored. Thank you.
Moving right along. A warm welcome to the Honorable Christina Shea, former mayor of Irvine, who recently joined Gloria Romero's campaign team. Gloria is unable to join us today, so Christina will be sharing information and a video that Gloria prepared especially for us. Welcome, Christina, the Honorable Christina.
Well, thank you so much. It's such a pleasure for me to be here with your group. You know, I've been very active in Irvine for, 40 plus years. I'm an elected official at the Orange County Central Committee. I was mayor and council member for over 30 years, so I really love being involved in every election. But the good thing is I'm not running this time. So that gives me some peace. But Gloria just brought me on about 2 weeks ago to help her in her campaign. So we're putting together a fundraiser on May 14th. At the district, we'd love you to come. All the information's on the back table. She's just a wonderful woman, and she's very apologetic that she couldn't be here. But you can imagine, like all of you, they have their schedule so busy. She has several different events today that she could not attend. But I said, I'd love to come and say hi to everybody. And just, I love Laguna Woods. I go to church right around the corner at Pacific Hills. so I come over here quite a bit. So, but you know, she's been a state senator, a state assemblywoman. She's worked for the college district. She's really been very involved with supporting charter schools, supporting our children, our families. She's been very active against fraud, all the basic principles that we stand for as Republicans. And she's been endorsed by the Orange County Republican Party, also by the state Republican Party. And so, to be honest with you, I haven't met her yet. It's been 2 weeks. I've talked to her, but I have not personally met her, so I'm looking forward to that. But I know that she's very committed to be running for lieutenant governor. I really believe she's going to be a very shining star, because the good thing, she's been in office before in the state of California. She lived in LA area, so she's been known all over, so she's a really good commodity to be supporting and hoping that we can get the state support for her. So with that, I'm just very pleased that we have a video. So I don't want to overtalk. We want to eat and, you know, get on with what's important. And that's our eating, having some lunch. So anyway, we'll show the video. Is that ready to go? Oh, JR will? Okay, good. So this is Gloria speaking directly to you, and it's more important you hear from her than you hear from me. Thank you so much.
Republican Club of Laguna Woods. And thank you especially to Pat and Betty for allowing me to record this video today due to a scheduling conflict. And I am so honored and thankful that I am the endorsed candidate for Lieutenant Governor by our Republican Party. I am so grateful and ready to get to work. As we know, the party did not endorse gubernatorial candidate, and that's because we have two very strong candidates. Even though I'm part of the golden ticket, I am committed to support whomever our party chooses to be our nominee out of the primary and into the general. That is my commitment. I've got two great individuals with whom I will work closely with Lieutenant Governor, and I have expressed that to both. This is the year, in the 250th year anniversary of America. The most important thing we can do is give a gift to America. And that gift is to go out, to vote, to take back our state, and to end one-party rule, which has persisted in the state for the last 16 years. That's the best thing we can do in this 250th year anniversary. You are so significant in that leadership, and you have been working and focusing on issues of concern to you. One of the major issues that I know you've shared with me is your concern about the future. What happens to our children? What happens to our grandchildren? Will they be able to find homes in the Golden State? Or will they be forced, like so many others in California, to rent a U-Haul and move out of state, going to less burdened, less taxed states? The purpose of the golden ticket, the governorship, myself as lieutenant governor, the attorney general, the controller, is to basically say we are going to fight to make sure that California becomes affordable again. And that means essentially deregulating the business climate, getting rid of so many of the burdens that we face, fighting to protect Proposition 13 so that we can continue to live in our homes without being taxed out, to have voter ID so that we can have a strong, honest, and an election with integrity. We're going to fight for our children, for better schools. That's especially going to be the role for the lieutenant governor, because as lieutenant governor, I will serve as one of the most important voices on education policy in the state. A regent for the University of California, a trustee for the Cal State system, a governor for the Board of Governors of the community college system. And in those boards, I will work to form a partnership of TK through 16 so we can make sure that we turn around the tide that we now see. Today in California, over 50% of our students can't read at basic levels of proficiency. They can't do math at basic levels of proficiency. And make no doubt about it, the state of Mississippi has actually bypassed the state of California. We have lost our way under the old administration. But myself as lieutenant governor, with a focus on restoring quality education, career-based readiness to our educated students back to California, we are going to turn this around. So I want to thank you for the leadership that you have been doing together and with our Golden Ticket team. We're going to ensure that we make crime illegal again. We're going to make sure that California returns to being a lawful, not a lawless state. We're going to make sure that we are honest in our policies and our elections, but we can only do this if we get out to vote. An election, as we know right now in California, it's not just one day. It should be. The courts are deciding this, but right now, the ballots will be mailed shortly. Please take your ballot, vote early. Talk to everybody you know. Let's get those ballots in so we can make sure that we are elected and ready to go out of the primary into the general election and then taking office in January. I thank you so much. I'm so sorry I wasn't able to be with you today, but I thank you for your support. Please join me, GloriaRomero.com, GloriaRomero.com. You can learn more about the campaign. If you can make a small contribution to the campaign, I would be deeply appreciative. And we will continue together to make California great again. Thank you.
I just want to answer the question that my husband asked of Christina Shea. I learned that Gloria, because Betty and I met with her at Central Committee, she converted over to the Republican Party because of what happened in the summer of 2024. You'll remember the debate with President Trump and Biden, how horrible it was for Biden, how it failed, and then they decided they had actually a coup, a Democrat coup to oust Biden and bring in Kamala Harris. Well, Gloria said that was it, didn't she, Betty? So that was when she converted, but I think she was probably coming over for a long time before that. Here you go.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to introduce the Honorable Sherry Friedrich. First elected in 2010, Sherry has served Orange County as the county treasurer and tax collector for the past 16 years. The first woman ever elected to this position, Sherry has saved taxpayers nearly $1 billion with a B during her tenure and has achieved California's highest secured property tax collection, a rate of 99.2% as of June 2024. As the banker for the county, its school districts, and community districts, she is responsible for the deposit, safekeeping, collection, and disbursement of over $10 billion in public funds. Running for re-election as Orange County Treasurer and Tax Collector, please join me in welcoming Sherry Friedrich.
Well, I think it's good afternoon. I'm honored to be here. You have got such great club members. I have been a member of your club for many years, and I really want to thank Pat and Betty and Joyce and Shirley and all of you who really make the club. You know, the club is nothing without people, and so I really want to thank you. I was looking at the flyer that you have here, which is so important. You guys educate so well. It is really great. It's just a blessing for the whole community here. My uncle lived here. Unfortunately, I tried to convince him he was Jewish and on the other side, and now I think he would change. He's passed away, rest in peace, but you know, your education is so important for all of us. And the policies you have, the endorsements, really, you are just so active, and I'm just so blessed to be here as a member. Anyway, I am your conservative representative in local government. As the Orange County Treasurer, I represent you, and as we know, cash is king. Cash comes into the county from who? It comes in from our taxpayers. Government is paid for by taxpayers. Each of you that own a home basically pay rent to the government in property tax. You don't own that home, you own it outright perhaps, but every year you have that 1% tax. Now we're very blessed here in California. It is a 1%. You probably have heard about how high these taxes are getting in so many other states because they are at market values. We have got to preserve Prop 13, and I'm so glad that that is on the ballot in November. And I think that this year is the year of of course, the 250th anniversary or birthday of our country, and I think this is going to be our year to really have the people's choices come true, because California has just been lost and we need to make it golden again. And when you look at the list of all of the people, we've got the people from the state that have all been endorsed, which are on the list that you guys have here, obviously important. We have the door hangers that are going out here in Orange County that have the local leaders. We've got Lisa Sparks on here with me, definitely. We need to bring back California to conservative values. This year is our year, and we definitely need to bring back Orange County, which currently has a majority of Democrats on the County Board of Supervisors, and they really are in charge of all of your property tax money. So very important that we do that. We're so pleased the Board of Education has got a strong board. Dr. Bean has been elected essentially, and I know how that feels because this is the first time that I've been working for you. I've been a public servant after the bankruptcy. I came into public service because we need good, competent financial people that understand risk and understand working for the people. But this is the first time that I have an opponent, and my opponent is backed by the county bureaucrats and by the largest county union, who is also backing Katie Porter. So we need to make sure that our public dollars are managed fiscally, conservatively, and are taken care of, and those dollars actually, under the schools, represent more than a majority of the public funds. And that's your dollars, because every dollar that comes in from you guys goes to me. I'm required to deposit it, and I make it available for the choices the Board of Supervisors makes. And we have got to get Diane Dixon in that seat here in South County. We need to undo the damage that's been done, the spending that's been done that has not been in conservative principles. So you are a key, because I know I just lost my mom last month, and you are the generation that is so important. You have put so many values in place. The values I have today are the values that you have given us, the mentors that the people here have done. I've been coming here for years. The knowledge that I have learned from you. I know they mentioned, Shirley, and I've known Shirley for so many years, and I have learned so much from all of you, and we don't want that to go to waste. So this is our year and our 250th birthday to make sure that we take California back. So a couple of things that are important just to keep in mind. My position, though, it's not that highly visible, plays an important role here in the county. As I said, we collect all of the taxes that pay for over 94% of the county's discretionary services. So if I don't do my job by getting your tax money in timely, and I'm sorry, we do deposit it as soon as we get it, but that's what good businesses do. And then we also disperse those funds. We make sure that those funds clear at the bank for payroll for the schools, for payroll for the county, for our vendors that are here. If that doesn't happen, the county would not be able to operate. So we really are important. In these years that I've worked for you here at the county, I've saved almost $1 billion. I will tell you that people make mistakes sometimes, and I am not perfect. I have faith, and I know that I'm always doing the right thing. I will say in my ballot statement, it was right after, I think I submitted right after I had this family emergency. I indicated that I've saved us $1 million, but I do want you to know that I have saved you $1 billion, because waste of government fund spending with your money is not acceptable. We need to take good care of it, better care of it as a fiduciary than each of you do. But when you go home, you have to make decisions, and we need the right people making those decisions for the state or for the county, because it is your money. So a couple of things that I've done on reducing the tax burden for you. We do have one of the highest collection rates in the state. And the benefit for you is if you pay timely, you don't pay that penalty of 10%. And so we have saved millions of dollars annually for taxpayers by making sure we clearly communicate that bill to you, we get it to you timely, we want you to be able to pay it easily. There was some mail fraud this year. I know I talked about it earlier. I do want to encourage you to either come in person, which we can. Pay online is the safest way. We want our friends to help us if we need help paying online, because it really is important, and we don't want you to pay that 10%. I think one of my biggest savings was on the pension debt. The county does have a defined benefit pension, as most governments do. And of course, it's paid for with your tax dollars. I identified as an accountant that there was negative amortization, which means that you're not paying principal off and your debt increases every year. So I rectified that by making a motion to change our amortization, where principal and interest are paid annually. And that single, simple accounting change saved you taxpayers $525 million. So very important to have a technical person in place. I'm the only CPA in the position. I'm the only one that has years and years of serving you and saving and protecting public dollars. You don't think of the tax collector as cutting taxes, really, because I am the tax collector. But I can tell you that I'm a business person first, and I work for you. And so when I found out that it was costing us more to assess, bill, and collect a tax bill for $100 and less than we were getting in revenue, I took action. And so we eliminated 40,000 tax bills for small businesses this past year that are no longer going to be sent to them annually because we were losing money. If we were sending a tax bill for $30, it cost us $100. These are the unsecured tax bills, so these are mostly business assessments. But it's not often that you can be a tax collector and actually reduce and eliminate tax bills, but that's what you put me there to do, is to do my job the right way and work for you. We've also implemented a lot of best business practices there that I'm very proud of. We are one of the leaders in the state in terms of the technology we used. You do see these QR codes everywhere. They're kind of ambiguous now. I've got my flyer here with my website, www.sherryfriedenrich.com. I put that on your tax bill back in 2012. I was an early adopter. I said, this is an easy way for people to get right to your parcel. You don't have to key in your parcel number or your address. You just take that code, you scan it in. So we are using technology to help you. We currently are working with the bank on preventing fraud, because there's a lot of early signs that are with fraud. And I know I'm just about out of time here, so I'm just wrapping up. But we're working with our bank to identify when someone's just opened a new account, or if there's been fraud on the account. So what we're doing is a couple of ways. When your taxpayers' dollars come in online, we have access to your bank account. We're going to be looking, and if we find fraud, I'm going to take it to the DA. I'm going to make sure that we're making sure that these people they're accountable for their actions, and they're getting prosecuted if they are defrauding anyone, including the County of Orange or any other vendors that we have. We want to make sure that we're taking care of you first, because that's what government should do, is government should work for you. In addition, I've been a mini Doge by saving all this $1 billion. There has been resistance because government doesn't like to change. I'm working with my bank for transparency and accountability to put out all the vendors that we pay. And I think with Lisa here, I'm the banker for the school districts. I think I have access to, I clear all their checks to actually put their vendors out on the website also, so someone could see the name of every vendor. And if you look at a vendor that you don't like, you can then say, why are we paying this vendor? So I am working hard for you to use this technology to cut fraud, waste, and abuse of your money. With that, I look for your vote on June 2nd. I'm honored to be here as a member. I do have a couple of things that I put out back. April was National Financial Literacy Month. So we have a lot of tools to help you protect your money. So a lot of things if you have identity theft or fraud. In addition, I've got these top 10 property tax tips. And I will tell you in closing one thing. One of my, I'm sorry, that's my little alarm here going off that I am done with time.